Hi, beautiful souls. Today I'm sharing a little light on your all-seeing third eye. I'm sure I've mentioned the third eye quite a few times as you become more open, perceptive, trusting in the truth and the way of your highest wisdom, the wisdom within your highest self. You start to naturally expand your third eye's ability to see. And you see not only from your third eye, but you see from your heart, and you see from your highest wisdom. And I put my hand up here because the feeling isn't just about coming from here like some beam, although there are some people that say that that's what their experience is. But this is a very, very sensitive area. And there are exercises and certain foods that you can eat in order to assist yourself. When I was 7 years old, and I was very, very sensitive as a child, very sensitive. And I felt on a very deep level. And then time happens, linear time, and we are told to be a certain way, and we begin to fragment, because even if people are very well meaning and do everything they can to bring us up the way they feel is best, everybody else's way isn't necessarily the right way for each unique individual within the one. And so I fragmented along the way and started to become dense and denser and denser, as so many do. And at one point I moved to, at 7 years old, I was walking in the field, and I used to love horses. I still love horses, but there was these two horses that used to live in this field not far from my granny's house. One was this lovely, beautiful, pale Palomino, and the other one was a very dark, dappled grey. Very, very dark, dappled grey. It was a very hot day. And I went up to them, and I picked some grass, so it wasn't exactly, I wasn't taking the most favourable treats. And I went up to this dappled grey, and I had the grass sitting nicely on the palm of my hand. And I offered this dappled grey the grass, and he was absolutely appalled. He was like, "What on earth do you think you're doing, coming up to me, offering me this grass when it's a hot day? I'm quite capable of picking my own grass. Dare to come to me with just grass? You could have brought a polo mint or something nice, some sweet treat, something that would have been fun for us." And he was so cross, he bit me on the forehead, and I fell backwards onto my arse. And I was in shock. I was so shocked, because I really didn't expect that to happen. I'd always had this ability to be good with animals and to read animals when I was younger. And obviously this is where I had not read the animal. I'd become just a bit distorted and a bit taken away from my wisdom within. I hadn't read. I hadn't spoken to the horse. I hadn't done any of the things that we do when we're young children. And I was like about 7, so this is the age where, you start to become, more adult, more in the system, so to speak. Anyway, I ran home, and don't know really what happened after that, but that left a dent right in my skull, a huge dent. It didn't break the skin, I don't think. I might have done, I can't remember. But there was this huge dent left in my skin, which you can see there. But there's also something else. Then years later, I was in the Canary Islands. I used to live in Fuerteventura. I lived there for 6 years. And one evening, and this was in a different lifetime, I was very drunk. I went to go into my house, and for some reason I'd got confused, like so many drunk people do, and I went to the back of my house, the apartments, and I walked up the back steps and I tried to put the key into the lock of my neighbour's house. Of course it wouldn't go in because it wasn't my house, and they weren't there, so I sat there for ages. I pieced the puzzle together the following days because sort of started to make sense. I remember lots of bats flying about, and then I must have fallen down this flight of stairs. I managed to get into my own apartment, and when my then boyfriend found me, he was absolutely appalled. We got a lift to the hospital by some other neighbours. Anyway, long story short, I had an enormous gash, which you can see a line there, in the front of my head, again in this very special area for seeing and for higher vision. I didn't really know about that at the time. I didn't really, it was in a different space in my journey. And years later, when I started to get back online, because I went offline, I dabbled in and out here and there, but you can't really be doing that much if you're drinking. If you're putting substances into your body that darken and make density into your system, you're not going to really go anywhere. It's like my swimming, that the swim coach said, I'm not going to get any faster if I don't do something about it now. You can't just like dip in and out and feel that that's going to be making progress. That's not the way to make progress if you're doing things to your body that holds it back. And I was certainly holding back for many years with my head in the sand and self-soothing, if you can call it that, with alcohol and lots of other things that really didn't help me. So when I came back online and I started to become a little bit more lighter and a little bit more lighter, and I started to realize how certain times these things happen. Like my higher self was probably like, we got to open up this eye, you got to, remember to see again. And the lighter you become, the more you want to make sure that you really take good care of your tools, so to speak. It's like if you have anything, if you have a car to drive yourself from A to B, you don't just like leave it there. You take good care of it, because then it makes your journey smoother, and you are looking after yourself. You're honouring yourself. You're honouring the equipment that is going to move you from place to place. So you don't just like leave it without taking good care. All of your tools you should be taking good care of. If you want to be good at singing, you sing every day. If you want to be good at speaking with trees, you speak to trees every day. So we take good care of our tools, and we do whatever we can to assist them. And with your third eye, there are certain things that you really want to clear out. For me, when I cleared out meat, it made a huge difference. I remember sitting in my desk in Brighton, and I was going, I wonder if I could ever be a vegetarian. This was a long time ago. I was like, yeah, but And before I'd had this thought, I'd given up pork. That was the first meat, because when I ate that one time, or in fact I don't even know if I'd eaten it, but I had this vision again from the third eye. The third eye is now nice and open because I've been really taking good care of it, although I'm still eating meat and still drinking alcohol at this point. So it's coming online, but there's still some areas of attention required. And I could see through the eyes of a pig, and everything was red. This was obviously my highest self demonstrating or showing me this vision, but everything was red, and it was just really, really like, oh no, I can't do this. And I could see literally through the eyes of the pig, and I was the pig at that moment, and I was like, I can't do this, I can't eat that anymore, that's just not supposed to be in my system. So I gave that up. Then years later, I was in Brighton. I think I stopped pork like 10 years before I gave up the other meats. And so I was in Brighton, and I was sitting at my desk. I was like, I wonder if I could be a vegetarian. And I had this kind of like this fable just played out in my third eye. And these animals trotted down this path, and they were sort of like drawn like Japanese prints, and they just sort of like appeared down this pathway that wasn't straight. It was like a curving, winding pathway, and it was so profound that I gave up meat that day, and I'd been a big meat eater. And then I started to notice more differences. And then I think 10 years after that, I stopped eating dairy products, and I stopped drinking alcohol. I'd quit cigarettes, I think about, I don't know how many years before that, because, you know, all of these things are just linear time really, but it's a process of clearing out your system, because the more you clear out your system, the lighter you become, and the clearer your visions will be, and the better clarity that you have when you see. And that was enormous. That was a huge change, huge, massive change. Getting rid of alcohol and getting rid of dairy products, massive difference. And of course, getting rid of meat years before that, very helpful. But I do what I can to look after my third eye. I want to have a pure visions. I want to see with purity, with love, and with light. There are different exercises. You can do sort of like humming exercises, and focus that humming to your third eye, just so that you can sort of like clear it out if it's I mean, some people have very calcified third eyes. I quit fluoride a long time ago. I'm very careful with how I take care of my teeth, because I grew up with dentists in my family. But fluoride is one that calcifies your pineal gland, and anything that calcifies, I mean, we've all cleaned a shower head, we know what that can be like. So, you know, if you're cleaning out internally, you have to focus your attention, because where you focus your attention is how you can assist yourself to clear things. And I like to use like the spiral method, spiraling. I focus some warmth there, then I focus some cooling there, changing like different temperatures. Again, some spiraling. I sometimes do some tapping around here. This is also like one of the qigong exercises, just to activate your energies within your meridians. The third eye area is an area that can assist you on your path